I thought I was a wedding pro. Seriously, I've seen the white dresses, I've heard the I do's, and I've done the cha-cha slide at receptions more times than I can count. I figured a wedding was a wedding, a celebration of two people, a big party, the start of a new chapter. I wasn't wrong, but I wasn't totally right either. When my friends Anna and Marco invited me to their wedding in the Philippines, I thought I was just going as a guest, but they kept telling me, with these knowing smiles, you'll see, it's about family. And yeah, I thought I got it. Family is important everywhere, right? What I was about to learn is that family at a Filipino wedding is on another level entirely. This wasn't just about two people falling in love. It was about two families, two histories, and generations of love all converging in one place. And I had a front row seat to one moment involving just a simple veil and a cord that would completely change how I see marriage forever. The morning of the wedding was pure joyful chaos. The air was thick with excitement and, let's be honest, a ton of hairspray. I was with Anna and her bridesmaids, and the room was just a whirlwind of activity. Her dress wasn't just a gown, it was a modern Filipiniana. It had these iconic butterfly sleeves that were somehow both elegant and a powerful statement of her heritage. The embroidery alone felt like it was telling its own story, but it really started to click for me when I saw Marco. He wasn't in a typical tux. He was wearing a barong Tagalog, this formal embroidered shirt made from a sheer, lightweight fabric that you wear untucked. He looked so regal, so dignified. It was worlds away from a rented suit. It felt like he was wearing his history. And then we got to the church. The first thing that hit me was the sheer number of people. It felt like an entire village came out to celebrate. And in a way, they had. I quickly realized a lot of people weren't just guests. They had jobs. Anna explained that in Filipino weddings, you have primary sponsors called ninongs and ninangs. These are godparents, chosen because their own marriages are role models for the couple. They aren't just witnesses, they're lifelong mentors. That was my first big clue. This ceremony wasn't just for a day. It was about building a whole community of support around the marriage, a foundation meant to last a lifetime. The ceremony itself was beautiful, a mix of Catholic traditions I recognized and Filipino customs that were totally new to me. It started with the lighting of the unity candle. First, the mothers of the bride and groom each lit their own smaller candle. Then, Anna and Marco took those separate flames and together lit one large candle in the center. It was such a simple, powerful visual. Two flames, two souls, two families becoming one. Their individual lights weren't being put out. They were combining to create something so much brighter. Next up was the array or coin ceremony. A young coin bearer brought the small, ornate pouch to the altar holding 13 coins. After the priest blessed them, Marco gently poured the coins into Anna's cupped hands, a symbol of his promise to provide for their new family. But then, in this beautiful modern twist, she poured them right back into his hands. It was their way of showing that this was a partnership, a shared responsibility to build their future together. I later learned the 13 coins also represent Christ and his apostles, grounding their promise for prosperity in faith. Everything up to this point had been incredibly moving, but I was not prepared for what happened next. The whole pace of the ceremony shifted. A hush fell over the entire church, and you could just feel the energy change. This was it. This was the moment. It was time for the veil and cord ceremony. First, a ninang and a ninom stepped forward with a large white veil. Very gently, they draped it over Anna's head, and then across Marco's shoulders. It was a symbol of them being clothed as one, sheltered under the loving protection of God. It was like they had entered this sacred space that was just for them, separate from the rest of us. Then, another pair of sponsors came forward with the yugal, a silken cord twisted into the shape of a figure eight, the symbol for infinity. They carefully looped it over Anna and Marco's shoulders on top of the veil, literally binding them together. The infinity loop wasn't just a shape, it was a promise of an unbreakable, never-ending bond. And seeing them there, kneeling at the altar, bound together by these simple ancient symbols, I just felt completely overwhelmed. My throat got tight. This was so much more than just a symbol. It was like seeing a spiritual promise made real, right in front of my eyes. This wasn't just a contract you sign or words you say. Marriage was this. It was being literally tied to another person, sheltered under the same roof, and wrapped in an infinite bond of love. The veil and cord weren't just things, they were a visible prayer. And I finally truly understood what Anna meant when she said, "It's about family." The sponsors weren't just helpers, they were the hands of the entire community, holding this new union together. I walked out of that church feeling like I was seeing the world in a whole new way. The traditions didn't stop, but now I understood the depth behind them. The reception was a feast in every sense of the word. The tables were overflowing with Filipino food, and the star of the show was a magnificent lechon, a whole roasted pig that signifies a true celebration. And then came the money dance. At first glance, it just looks like a fun, quirky tradition where guests pin money on the bride and groom to get a chance to dance with them. But after what I just witnessed, I saw it differently. Each bill pinned to Anna's gown or Marco's barong wasn't just a gift. It was another piece of the community literally investing in their future. It was a shower of blessings, a tangible contribution from everyone there to help them start their new life. Even the atmosphere felt different from other weddings I'd been to. There was this deep, genuine respect for the elders and a warmth that extended to everyone. The ninongs and ninangs weren't just sitting at a head table, they were weaving through the crowd, offering advice and just beaming with the pride you'd expect from a parent. They were already living up to the promise they made at the altar to be there for life. My biggest takeaway from that day wasn't just the beauty of the traditions themselves, but the incredible sense of security they create. I've always seen marriage as a brave leap of faith that two people take together. But a Filipino wedding taught me it's more like being carried forward by an entire village. It's not just two people saying "I do." It's the whole community standing up and saying "we do." We promise to support you, to guide you, and to catch you if you fall. That veil and cord ceremony showed me that as a couple, you don't have to face the world alone. Your love is protected, sheltered by the love of your family and community. That experience didn't just give me a great story to tell. It fundamentally changed how I think about what it means to build a life with someone. It's not just about finding the one person you love. It's about embracing the whole community that loves both of you. Have you ever been to a Filipino wedding or a wedding with traditions that completely moved you? I would love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing for more journeys into culture and tradition. Thanks for watching.